On this episode, I'm giving a reaction to this article titled Why Gen Z Hates Work by Maya Sulkin. So let's get started. After Daniel Hyen, a 23-year-old from Los Angeles, graduated from Claremont McKenna in 2023, he started looking for a job. Interviewing with a fashion startup, a real estate company, a few tech firms, and a marketing agency, he made it to the final round of 10 different job applications. Whew. I had 5 or 6 interviews with each company, he told me. I did projects for all of them. It was a 12-week process, and some of the recruiters would ghost me for weeks. Can we just stop with the ghosting people? Like, let's be transparent. Let's be upfront. That just goes for everybody. No more ghosting. In the end, none of the companies came through. The night before his final interview for one position, he said he was told they were postponing the role for at least 6 months because the economy is shit. Okay. And the other thing about like having people do projects, and I get it with like the more creative, but can we reduce it so that people who are job searching aren't doing like all of these things and spending all of this time and they don't get the job? It just makes resentful people. All right. It was a really eye-opening process, Hagen continued. I just had to sit down with myself and be like, is it really my dream to do business development at this random consumer tech company? The short answer, he concluded, was no. Not having anything else constructive to do, Hayen began posting on TikTok. I was done with corporate America and wanted to start experimenting a bit, he said. I had a couple of videos blow up. I got around 5,000 followers. Maybe he thought he could become an influencer. He started to read Strategies on Finding Your Niche and posted videos, mostly funny ones, commenting on drag queen races. He studied successful influencers, hoping to discern their secret sauce. I've had moments throughout my career where I thought that if I really was just persistent and just started posting, maybe that could be me. Okay, I'm on board so far. Maybe that could be me. There are thousands, maybe millions of Gen Zers who watch influencers on Instagram or TikTok and think to themselves, maybe that could be me. The top influencers make serious money doing things we all do as part of our daily life: renovating our apartments, taking a workout class, laughing at videos online, eating dinner with friends, walking in the park. From the viewer's perspective, they are being paid to exist. The only difference is that they are documenting it. Okay. A lot of young people like me get frustrated seeing influencers making content that isn't even interesting or funny and earning upwards of 6 figures, Hayen told me. I mean, I get frustrated. I don't think it's just a young person thing. I mean, I get frustrated when I see like a woman eating a salad and then it pops up the caption, and the caption has nothing to do with eating a salad, and yet they have like hundreds of thousands of likes. I'm like, I'm putting out quality content that's actually going to be meaningful and help people. And yet I get like 14 likes. And I'm like, oh my God, it's just frustrating. I get it. I'm so far I'm with this guy. Influencers being so open and honest about making 4 times as much as their old 9 to 5s and having such flexible lifestyles has opened my generation's eyes into what's possible, Haynes said. It makes you feel completely disillusioned, and it's made Gen Z nihilistic about working. I mean, I think Gen Z was nihilistic about working before. I mean, they tend to be just not tend to be, but there is a higher level of nihilistic thinking in Gen Zs, I'm finding. You've no doubt read the stories about how young people can't get jobs. The stories are true. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the unemployment rate for Gen Z is around 11%, which is more than double the national unemployment rate of 4.3%. I wonder if they're going to start talking about how 61% of businesses have fired a Gen Z employee within months of hiring them because they don't know how to dress, they don't know how to behave, they don't know how to communicate, and they think they should be the boss the next day. I wonder if it's going to get into that. Probably not, but let's see. Some have blamed AI, arguing that companies no longer need the paralegal, researcher, and customer service representative positions that young people have always filled because AI does the work faster and better. Others say young people are entering the job market at a time when the labor market is essentially frozen, and no college degree or niche skill can fix that. But here's the thing. Gen Zers don't want entry-level jobs. Here we go. They don't want middle management roles either, with nearly 70% of my generation dismissing them as high stress, low reward. There's the kicker. That's what's going on. Gen Zs don't want to work their way up the totem pole. They want to go in and they want to be the boss the next day. They want to be earning promotions and higher pay, and they want all of the luxuries without putting in the work. I think this is the biggest thing that's frustrating people about Gen Zs is because of gentle parenting. Yes, I'm going on a rant about gentle parenting, and we've treated children as if they are our partner and that they are equal and that they are awesome and they can't do anything wrong, that they feel entitled and they feel like they're too good for entry level. They don't realize that all of the skills that they can earn as an entry level entry level position, and they just automatically assume. And so they're like, well, I'm not going to get that job because it's low paying. And I'm like, you have to put in the work. You have to learn those skills and build your resume in order to get the higher paying skills or the higher paying jobs. One Zoomer I spoke to, Jessie, spent 2 years after graduation applying for 200 jobs in her chosen field, communications, with no luck. Not having a full-time job for all the time was financially stressful, she said, but she didn't want to suck it up and get a boring corporate job. In other words, Jessie preferred to not work at all than to be unhappy in her job, because that's a big value for Gen Z, is that they want to be happy in their job, because we've trained them, because of gentle parenting, we've trained them to think that they're supposed to be happy all of the time. And it just doesn't work that way. It all goes back to gentle parenting. Yes, you boomers and Gen Xers, I can sense your eyes rolling right about now. We know what you think of us Zoomers. We have an attitude problem, but the conversations I had with a fellow Gen Zers for this story suggests that it's not so much an attitude problem, but an Instagram-induced delusion, okay? You see, when you spend hours each day watching someone on the other side of your screen making money by seemingly dancing through life without much effort, you start to lose sense of what it takes to succeed in this world. If my generation tends to think that so-called real jobs are beneath us, they do, it's not because we're lazy or egomaniacs. Well, okay, some of us might be. It's because the top doesn't look so out of reach. Watching people earn a living with such seeming ease is breaking my generation's perception of what kind of job and life is attainable, normal, and desirable. But what they're not seeing is all of the time that those content creators, the Instagram influencers, the TikTok influencers, all of the time that is going on to create that content. And all of the fails and the bad videos and the having to re-record. You have to put in the work to get to that point. And the networking and the commenting on people's stuff and responding and all of the things. There's so much that goes into it that we don't see. And they just think, oh, we're just going to post a video and it's going to go viral and woohoo. No, that doesn't work that way. Sophie Cohen, 27, is one of the people who has turned influencing into a profitable career. She began posting her outfits on Instagram when she was in high school, before influencing was a thing. After graduating college and moving to New York, Cohen worked as a buyer at Bloomingdale's when she started to feel torn between her 9 to 5 and her social media presence. My colleagues at Bloomingdale's had been there for 25 years. It's their whole career, she told me. I was starting to be like, I don't know if that's me. I don't see myself in these people. I don't know if this is my dream or my goal anymore. Cohen started to get brand deals in which companies pay someone to post a photo or a video with their product, and decided to take influencing more seriously. She took her savings and poured it into her new pursuit. Everyone thinks that everyone is an overnight sensation, and no one is an overnight sensation. Once Cohen gained enough traction, she turned to influencing full-time, paying her rent with the money she'd saved from her first brand deals. It wasn't until the end of the year when I looked at all my finances and was like, whoa, this is a legit career. I'm making more than I did in a good corporate job. Now Cohen says she's makes thousands of dollars for posting content promoting brands, whether it's Nordstrom's or Airpole or Crocs. Sometimes it could be an hour of my time for $5,000 to $10,000, she said. That's a month's rent. That's a vacation. Cohen said she's now living the life of her dreams. I make a great living. It's a dream lifestyle. I fully work for myself. She used to be embarrassed to admit her job was content creation, but not anymore. Same girl, same. It has become this very aspirational career because there's all the glamour of it, like the events and the free stuff. But I think the biggest luxury is not having to work a 9 to 5. And I think in this day and age, for many young people, that's what they want to be doing. Exactly. Okay, let's continue. Influencers make money in two ways. First, companies pay them to promote products or brands. And second, as influencers accumulate followers and begin to attract advertising, they are paid a percentage of the ad revenue. Is it any wonder that so many Gen Zers want to be influencers? Even young people with traditional careers often aspire to be influencers, making videos of themselves at work with captions such as, "She doesn't know it yet, but in about 10 minutes, she will receive an email asking her to do something she's literally employed to do, and it ruined her whole day." Such videos can rack up thousands of views. I don't know why. Whatever. Gen Z has always had a talent for finessing the system, whether it's selling custom merchandise on Etsy or telling everyone where their clothes are from. Indeed, roughly 4 in 10 millennials and Gen Zers have side hustles, according to Deloitte. Once upon a time, a singer like Addison Rae would have built her career singing in dives for pennies. Instead, she said her her success as a pop star is a direct result of her treating her TikTok posts like a job. That's the thing. You have to treat it like a job and put in the work. Gen Z is not interested in climbing the corporate ladder either, because a senior position at a big corporation doesn't provide fulfillment or even pride. There's that value system again. Going to Pilates at noon does. The aspirational life we dream of feels one viral post away, making traditional jobs seem like a fool's errand. In other words, it is about doing the least amount of work for the most amount of money. But only a certain percentage can actually do that. That's the reality of it. And when we spend our days scrolling through our social media accounts, we find role models, if that's the right term, like 32-year-old Heidi Kulp, who worked as a special education teacher before she quit to do what makes her happy, renovating her home. That's right, she's getting rich renovating her home. I had a blast the first few years I was teaching, but I got burnt out, Culp told me. It wasn't until the pandemic hit and students stopped showing up to class that Culp decided to put a little more time into her social media account. I was making no money, and it kind of just gave me time to really go all in on my apartment projects and create content around them. 2 years later, Culp was making enough money as an Instagram influencer to quit her teaching job. Her first paid campaign was with Tempur-Pedic pillows, which she said paid $200 to post a photo with the product. Now she makes significantly more than she did as a teacher and more than her friend who works as an OBGYN. She's at the hospital every day delivering babies, and I'm here renovating my house. It's so sad, she added. Teaching is so underpaid. I didn't even have health insurance. I was struggling working and shelping myself all over the city to make $45,000 in a good year before taxes. It's just insane. Meanwhile, said Culp, I get to be with my cats all day, which is such a dream, and I get to work with my boyfriend. I'd much rather be doing this than having to commute on the subway. Again, it's what your values are. Suzanne Stark, 24, is filled with envy when she sees successful influencers like Culp. Although she is employed more or less happily in the healthcare field, she still craves the kind of life she sees on her screen. Watching influencers has changed my perception of what a good job is, she said. Prior to influencing becoming monetizable, a good job meant a 9 to 5 at a good company. Anything other than a service job was a good job. Now I think being an influencer is above a corporate job because the associated financial success is something virtually impossible to achieve in your first 10 to 20 years in a traditional career. Like Hannon Starzik said, it's discouraging and unmotivating when you're seeing people make 30 times what you make doing things that you would genuinely enjoy way more than your normal job. Meanwhile, my eyesight is getting worse from staring at a computer and my butt is getting flat from sitting at a desk. And I'm getting acne because I'm getting blue light exposure all day. Oh my goodness. Like, I cannot tell you the number of times, like, I'm literally saving people's lives in therapy, and I'm not getting paid as much as these influencers or as much as Taylor Swift or anything along those lines, but I'm literally saving lives, but it's not about the money. It's like, what is it that you value? I asked Stark about the accusation that Gen Z has an attitude problem about work. She agreed wholeheartedly. Our attitude problem has to do with seeing all the people doing normal day to day things online and making money from it. It disincentivizes you from working, and it definitely incentivizes you from taking a corporate job when you watch someone earn more money from sharing their morning routine than you do in a month or even more from your 9 to 5. When I met August Lamb, she had quit trying to become an art influencer, a story she had recounted in the Free Press in December, to gain followers and sell her art. She acknowledged, sold her soul, pretending to care about other artists on Instagram and making emotional disclosures, which prompted her followers to buy more of her art. She finally became so disgusted that she disabled her Instagram account and, in short order, gave up her computer and smartphone. One of my biggest strokes of luck is that I am not hot enough to be an Instagram model. I always had to develop a skill. She told me from her flip phone. Gen Z said, she said, is dangerously naive about what it really means to make a living from the internet. Yes, I think everyone thinks they're an overnight sensation. No one is an overnight sensation. People come to me wanting to know the hacks to become an influencer, disregarding the fact that I've completely disavowed that line of work because they want the easy way out. But Lamb said the idea that you live your life, snap a photo, and get compensated just doesn't happen for the vast majority of people who are hoping to become influencers. Exactly. I recently had a friend say she was going to start selling her underwear online. Foot pictures also is a thing, instead of getting a job in a coffee shop because it's easier, Lamb said. But as someone who has tried to sell photos of myself online, it's so much more work. And it's so much more demeaning, and you can't imagine the amount of hours you have to put into it for the potential return. For potentially no return. The internet, she said, has successfully fooled people. For every one Pilates influencer who's living full time off that income, there are thousands of people, if not millions, who have tried and failed. Exactly, like I make these for free. I'm making a living off of doing all of my therapy and that stuff. Lamb is not surprised that the influencer economy has penetrated Gen Z psyche so deeply. Young people spend so much time on social media. So, of course, they're going to see that as the way to live. They're seeing the world as a place to move through and to meet your needs, and then you return home and go online again. She continued, it probably sounds old fashioned and conservative, but I do think that there's a reason why unemployed people get depressed very easily. They feel that they're not contributing to their lives or to the world. I don't think that the feeling is going to go away when you find a way to hack the system to make enough money to survive. It feels good when you figure out a way to exist in the world that you know is meaningful and that has momentum. Yes, we want to have purpose. This is what humans need. When I asked Lamb if her art sales have suffered since going dark, she told me that the exact opposite has happened. Now that I'm off social media and all of my energy is going towards my work and toward my life, I'm seeing that I have so much more of it, she said. Because instead of doing art and then figuring out how to present that art, I'm doing art and then doing more art and then having time to relax and having time to consume art and go to the cinema and read books and hang out with friends because there isn't that massive time suck of presenting myself online. Yes, there's so much that goes into being an influencer that no one is really talking about. And I think this article does a great job. So I think, yes, Gen Z, if you hate your job and you want to try to be an influencer, then do it as a side hustle first. Work your job, even if it's like sucking your soul, do the side hustle. And then later on, if your side hustle, usually the guideline is if you're making half of your salary by your side hustle, then you can jump into your side hustle full time. All right, I loved this article. I think it provided a lot of great points. And I think by really reaching in and figuring out what is our purpose, what is our values, and living a value-based life, that's how we're going to decrease depression, decrease anxiety, and that's how we're going to be throat punching this Gen Z mental health crisis.